So this week we've been working on estimation. We've estimated addition and subtraction. We've estimated with fractions and decimals. Now, several weeks earlier, we had done estimating with multiplication, which we will review tomorrow. But today we're going to be doing estimating division. Now, so far, all the estimation that we've done has involved rounding before solving the problem. But if I took a problem like this one, 7 divided into 223, and I rounded this number to 200, and I tried dividing it by 7, you will see that as I work this out, it's not going to go in evenly. I'm going to get a pretty ugly number with a remainder, and I did not make my job any easier. So that didn't work. That wasn't really a good estimation strategy, and you can see my answer doesn't look that good. Normally I'm used to seeing answers that have a 0 on the end, and that just doesn't look right. So let's say I tried rounding that to the tens place, okay? So I did 7 into 220. Okay, as I work through this, it's going to work a little bit better, but you'll see that it still isn't going in evenly. I still have that ugly remainder, so this still isn't a good solution. So when we're dividing, we like things to go in evenly, and this isn't going in evenly. So we have to do something totally different on this estimate, and it's called getting a compatible number. Okay, so compatible number. Now, compatible means it's close. Okay, it's a number that's close, that works well with it. It's not the same as rounding. Now, instead of looking at your whole dividend, the whole 3 digits, we're just going to underline 2 of the digits. Now, if I think about my 7 times tables, I've got 7, 14, 21, 28, and that's going far enough. So if I look at my 7 times tables, the closest thing I see to 22 is 21. So I'm going to change that 22 to a 21, because then I know that the 7 will go in evenly. Now, I also need to add a digit to the end, because right now my dividend is 3 digits, but this 21 only has 2 digits. So all I have to do to make that 3 digits is I'm going to put a 0 on the end. Then I'm going to start dividing into it, and you'll see that it will go in perfectly evenly, giving me an estimate. So 7 won't go into 2, so I do need to put my placeholder 0. 7 will go into 21 3 times, and 7 will go into 0 0 times, so my estimate is 30. So once again, that strategy is called getting a compatible number. So I want you to write down the problem, pause it, solve it on your own, and then start the video and see if you did it correctly. So on this one, write it down and underline the 17. So we're going to count by nines. 9, 18, 27, and that's far enough because I want to find the closest thing to 17. So I'm going to set up a new division problem. The 9 is not changing, it stays the same, but I'm going to change the 17. Now looking at those times tables, the closest thing to 17 is 18. And it doesn't matter if the closest number is bigger or smaller, it just needs to be the closest. And then I need 1 0 on the end. So 9 will go into 1 0 times, into 18 2 times, and into 0 0 times. So my estimate is 20, because 20 times 9 is 180. Okay, next one. Now this one is horizontal. You may get a word problem, or you may get a problem that is written horizontally. Anytime you see that, you want to go ahead and set it up with your long division house. So go ahead and set it up with the long division house, even though it was presented horizontally. Now we're going to underline the 65. Now pause the video, solve it, and then unpause the video. Okay, so you should have gotten 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. There's that number. That's the closest I'm going to get to 65. So I change that to a 64, and I put the 0 on the end. 8 will not go into 6, but it does go into 64 8 times, and it goes into 0 0 times, so that estimate is 80. Okay, so next one, write it down. underline the 49. Pause the video. Okay, so the compatible number to 49 would actually be 48. And then you're going to put a 0 on the end. So 6 goes into 4 0 times. It goes into 48 8 times, and it goes into 0 0 times. So your estimate is 80. Okay, next one. Write it down. Pause the video. Now this one you are going to want to set up that long division house because you're not going to want to solve it horizontally. And underline the 37 in the dividend. Now pause the video. Okay, so your compatible number would have been 35. You put a 0 on the end, and your answer is 70. Okay, next one. Now underline the 13, pause the video. Okay, so the closest thing to 13 would be 12, and then you put a 0, so the 4 will go in there 30 times. Okay, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit. Now, sometimes you will have a two-digit a two-digit divisor. So here's one that has a two-digit divisor. Now, I've already rounded it for you, so we're just going to practice what that would look like with a two-digit divisor. So, sorry, let me go on back. I'm going to go ahead and underline that 17. And I'm not going to count by 90. I'm just going to count by 9. I don't need to count by 90. So my compatible number, I'm just messing this one up all over the place. I apologize. So I do need to put the 90 here. So my compatible number would be 18. And I put the 0 on the end. Now you need to be careful because I am dividing by 90. I am not dividing by 9. So 90 will not go into 1. 90 will not go into 18. I have to go all the way over to the 180, and then 90 goes in 2 times. So you need to be careful with these two-digit divisors that you ask yourself how many times it goes in, and you put in those placeholder zeros so that you don't mess that one up. Now looking at this one, so my divisor is 60. I'm going to underline the 49. Now I'm just counting by 6. So if I count by 6s, the closest thing would be 48, and I put the 0 on the end. So 60 will not go into 4. 60 will not go into 48. I have to go all the way over to the 480. And then 60 would go in there 8 times. Okay, so finally, if you have one that has a two-digit divisor, you do want to round that because we don't want to have to try counting by some huge two-digit number like 42 because that's not going to make it easy to estimate. So 42 would round to 40, and then I would do my division, and I would get 6. Okay, so we're going to look at one more here. The video has gotten quite long. Okay, so 29 would round to 30, and then I would divide in, and my estimate is 5. So just a quick little recap of what we learned in this video here. Okay, we learned that when you're estimating division, you get what's called a compatible number. You do that by counting and finding the closest number in the times tables, and then you divide and put your answer on top. We also learned that when you have a two-digit divisor, that you do need to round it to the tens place, and then you would get that compatible number.